replacement loan of October 2nd, 2009. Whereas the commitment letter requires that the GTCA provide its acceptance by September 11th, 2009 and deliver a total transaction fee of $109,194, including $2,500 of bank counsel fees. Whereas the commitment letter and contemplated loan documentation of the replacement loan will therefore permit the GTCA in the latter's sole discretion to determine prior to the closing the principal amount of the replacement loan by paying at least $1 million of principal due under the 2007 note on an accelerated basis or on or before the closing, and accordingly the amount of the monthly payment that would be required under the replacement loan during its 38-month term. Whereas the bank has provided amortization schedules based on monthly payments under the replacement loan starting on November 1st, 2009, indicating that in the case of a $1 million principal prepayment at or before the closing, the required monthly payment would be approximately $415,000 per month. And in the case of a $1.5 million principal prepayment at closing, the required monthly payment would be approximately $399,000 per month. And the actual monthly payment under the replacement loan therefore would be somewhere between those monthly payment figures, depending upon the amount of loan prepayment of the 2007 note principal made by the GTCA at or before closing. Whereas, under the range of loan principal prepayment scenarios noted above, the projected interest expense under the replacement loan is approximately $2.4 million less than the remaining interest expense that would be due after October 1st, 2009 under the June 2007 note, assuming the latter remains outstanding through its maturity. Be it resolved that the Board authorizes the President to execute the commitment letter and to concurrently pay the $109,194 transaction fee to the bank. Be it resolved that the Board further authorizes the President, upon the continued advice of the Financial Advisory Committee during the period prior to the closing, to select the amount of principal that will be repaid on an accelerated basis before the closing, which amount cannot, by the terms of the commitment letter, be less than $1 million, and accordingly the amount of the monthly loan payment under the replacement loan. Whereas the Board further authorizes the President to execute the final loan credit agreement and promissory note, including any other documents necessary to effect the transaction contemplated under the commitment letter.
Thank you very much. I would like to have a second.
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Serious motion. Any discussion? Yes, Barbara, please.
Unfortunately, I received my first piece of information about this loan repayment plan tonight at 6:30, in spite of repeated requests for information. I'm very disappointed in this board in being so in not providing any information either to directors or to homeowners before taking such a drastic step. And
Thank you, Barbara.
excuse me, I'm not finished.
Okay.
I think that it is irresponsible to act in this manner, to make a fundamental decision like this with so little opportunity for discussion by directors or by homeowners.
Thank you very much, Barbara. I've gone through many emails. I just studied my mailbox for the last year and a half. This issue was discussed and discussed and discussed and discussed. In February, this board passed resolution after resolution, commitment after commitment. All directors discussed it. We had a working session. Unfortunately, please, you are out of order. You are out of order. You are out of order.
You don't have the floor.
Thank you. This issue was discussed. We had working sessions. This letter was delivered to me today. This letter was delivered today to me. I saw this final commitment.
Please note Director Tokay left the room.
Final commitment I received around 5 o'clock. I emailed to all the directors.
At 10:24. I'm sorry.
I emailed this to all the directors, and then I had to email it again to director, and then I somehow did not deliver, but by about 5:30 I sent it to all the directors and payers, just to make sure that this will be delivered. But It is not important as the directors received this at 5 o'clock before the meeting. This issue was discussed extensively. And more, read the record show that I do have emails where Director Tokay is questioning and suggesting certain serious issues with this agreement. So, any more discussion?
Yes. Sorry.
Judy?
Okay, a couple of things. One is regarding, and I'm sorry she's not here to for this, but one of the things that Director Tokay has been stating and on Galaxy Facts and in the boardroom is that we have been remiss in not using the R&R money that we have been putting aside to prepay the loan. We have not been using it to prepay the loan. So she has been part of this process in terms of being, I thought, encouraging in terms of prepaying the loan, part of the process of wanting to save, in this case, maybe up to $2.5 million in interest, which I have been all in favor of since before I was on the board. So in my opinion, for her to now say that that negotiating a an early retirement is out of line, just boggles me. But I also want to say that regarding the 7% increase that we have alluded to earlier, that the FAC alluded to, the Ellinger board and Alan specifically, Alan Ellinger himself, and he showed it to me directly, had an outline of a schedule of maintenance increases through and including either 2015 or 2016 on a spreadsheet which he issued to homeowners a number of years ago. And that called for a 7% increase this coming year, followed by a drop in increases through 2015 or 16 of then the maintenance would not drop, but the increases would drop to 1 or 2, maybe 3% a year from then on through the balance of the loan. This is what the board has been operating under in terms of the repayment of the R&R schedule all along. This is something that I know we have addressed in many conversations in the board. And again, Director Tokay has been part of these conversations. I cannot say specifically whether she has agreed to them, but she has been part of the conversations. So what we are planning on, and what the FAC based it on, is following the Ellinger schedule of payments, of maintenance increases, which is in 2010 an increase of 7%, followed by increases of around 1 or 2% through the balance of the loan, and that will, with the rescheduling of this loan, allow us to have the money to prepay, to make these increased payments of around $400,000 a month, plus give us, start to build some capital, some reserve, which I understand we haven't had since the beginning of the millennium. And I think that's an excellent idea.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, Vinny.